Good afternoon and welcome to Vocab Voyage news for today, Saturday, the 9th of May. I've just finished a lovely miso ramen cooked by my lovely wife Akiko. I love miso ramen. Today the news is on disaster prevention. It's one of the subjects for the month. If you want to check out all the vocab and get transcripts of this and everything, a whole lot more, have a free month. Check it out. Find out how you can learn heaps of new vocab in context with me. First story. Preparing for disaster in Tokyo. This is something I didn't know existed. The Rinkai Disaster Prevention Park. Some reporters went along and they've got like a disaster prevention ride, if you wish. You start in an elevator. You're going down an elevator, and then there's an earthquake, and elevator stops. You've got to get out, and then you find yourself in a dark hall. You've got to find your way outside, and then you go and erect city, and you've got to. The idea is you've got to survive for 72 hours, which is what they say after a big disaster. It's 72 hours till help comes. Not so sure about that. Somewhere like Tokyo. Here's the figures, yeah? If a 7.3 earthquake hit bang under Tokyo, 415,000 buildings on fire, 175,000 buildings collapsed, 23,000 people dead. 72 hours? I think it would take longer than that, but that's what the experts say. 72 hours you have to survive before help comes. See, Japan's on 4 tectonic plates, so it's well disaster prone. Next story about disaster kits. Do you have one? I don't have one. You're supposed to have like a kit in your house with food. We all know this: food, water, torch, batteries, other things like regional maps, backup specs, medicine, a whistle, toot toot. So you can survive. I don't have one. I should have one. Now, another thing I didn't know, in Japan, in Tokyo, there's refuge parks. These things, they look like ordinary parks, but they're like transformers. If there's a disaster and it's required, the park benches flip upside down and turn into barbecues, and the manhole covers you can lift up and they can be used as toilets, and under the ground there's heaps of food and reservoirs of water. Fantastic. So that's to help people stay the 72 hours until help can arrive. I did read somewhere in the article, though, that these parks are mainly in the affluent or rich areas of Tokyo, not the poor areas. Yeah. So Rinkai is one of these parks. By 2020, they're aiming to build 185 acres or 75 hectares of these disaster sites to see people through the 72 hours. Christchurch, Tohoku. The earthquake in Christchurch, the earthquake / tsunami in Tohoku were 1 month apart. February 21st in Christchurch, March 11th, of course, in Tohoku. So the third article, they're talking about, the reporters have gone to both places, and they're talking about the rebuild of both areas, problems they're having, successes they've had. As an aside, you know, the cathedral in Christchurch, which was the landmark of Christchurch, it was destroyed. A new one has been built, and it has been made out of cardboard. It was designed by a Japanese chap whose name escapes me now, but I talk about it in my Japanese architecture as a previous vocab voyage subject. Yeah, but he made this cathedral out of cardboard. Anyhow, these reporters are talking about the problems they're having. They're building and rebuilding in places maybe people don't want to return to. The government's not listening to the public. People are getting frustrated. A big problem in Christchurch, there's there's what's called the red zone in Christchurch. It's uninhabitable. There was all liquefaction where all the mud came up from the ground in the earthquake, and all the houses there, it's uninhabitable. And they're trying to decide what to do with that, and everyone's arguing about it. Ishinomaki's got the same red zone, if you wish. They're turning it all into green spaces, so they're going from red zone to green space. Okay, thanks for listening, and have a good day. I'm off to Cairns to get some supplies for my garden.